Welcome to the Secret Garden. For once, we actually have a bit of sunshine. We've been lacking a little bit of that so far this summer. But I'm thrilled to say that Sam Leake has joined us today. Sam is coming to play on Saturday night, Saturday the 7th of August. And we thought we'd have a quick chat with Sam about his jazz roots and get a little bit of an insight into what he will be playing and presenting to us on Saturday. So welcome, Sam. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So your route into jazz, how did your journey begin?
I guess when I was a kid, I was learning piano, learning classical piano and doing those kind of things. But I was also playing in rock bands, and I used to play blues rock guitar, and that was kind of my world then. And I really enjoyed the that kind of interplay, playing with other people in that setting, and the kind of groove music and those things. And so there was a teacher of mine I had when I was a kid, a guy called Roger Perrin, who was a really incredible teacher actually. He used to take me out to watch gigs in pubs when I was far too young to be going to watch gigs in pubs, taking me to see people like Gareth Lecraine and Alcyone Mick and various other incredible jazz musicians. And that really gave me the buzz for it, I think, then, and I made the shift across. And I think I started taking it really seriously when I was studying classical music at King's College, London. I ended up getting involved in a lot of stuff at the Royal Academy of Music then, which is where I ended up going to do a master's a little later on. And I just remember going into this classroom when I was about 18, which had, I don't know if you know these guys or not, but had Callum Gourlay, Fred Thomas, Josh Blackmore, Freddie Gavita, Richard Shepherd, all of these musicians that ended up going on to be, some, I guess, amongst jazz crowds, kind of household names today. And I had no idea how good people could be aged 18. I'd been kind of fastest blues scale player in Kingston or something and thought that I was amazing. And I very quickly shut up aged 18 and did a lot of practice. I think that's around the time I started taking it super seriously. It was just being inspired by friends around me. Getting to be on a course with people like Kit Downs and Jonas Screet. So that was a pretty special time, and I guess that's when things became really serious for me. I was playing, practicing 5 or 6 hours a day, really dedicated to the music thenceforth.
And for those of you who didn't see it, Sam did a fantastic Ronnie Scott's Lockdown gig, which I think is still up on YouTube. And I loved the vibe of what you guys have created. What was your starting point when you were putting the trio together as to how you wanted your music to be heard and what the origins of the actual musical content of it was?
Those are definitely the right guys to be doing this trio. There's a lot of shared musical taste there. I think we're all very inspired by the early Jarrett trio and American quartet as well. So the bands with Charlie Hayden and Paul Motion and Dewey Redman. Also Paul Bley, Liberation Music Orchestra. I like a lot of kind of South African music. I love Abdullah Ibrahim. So I think that's slightly more open and free and soulful, but very tuneful world is something that we're all into from our different angles.
And do you all write individually for the band?
No. This is a band that I write for. This is very much my group. I think those influences are apparent in the writing. Hopefully not ripping them off, but yeah, that's
I love the space that you create in the band, because that's something that often, especially younger jazz musicians, seem to feel the need to fill a space, and you seem to allow it to breathe.
That's very nice to hear. I think it comes from the same place, really. It's very open music. I deliberately wrote things that lend themselves to improvising. In the past, I've written some more complex music, which is great, but can be more constraining. Well, certainly more constraining until you've really found your way in it. Whereas this was really to allow us all to just play like we love and like we do.
And how have you found the whole lockdown experience? Have you had a chance to perform apart from that Ronnie's gig? Have you been on the road?
Yeah, so I have been on the road since lockdown as well. But during lockdown, when lockdown hit, I was in the middle of a tour. So I was doing a thing called the Craft of Sound tour with this trio, and sadly we lost a few of the dates at the end of it because of lockdown. But because I was in tour mode, as soon as it hit, I got in touch with a lot of the venues I played at and organised an online tour. So I ended up doing a whole set of live streamed gigs just from my house, ticketed and to the audiences for these venues. And it was really, I'm not sure how I would have got through it without doing that, because I'd have just missed not playing music. It would have been really difficult. Having one of those concerts every 2 weeks, I'd got together new music for each one, and I spent a lot of time working on it, and it kept me sane, I think. So I did all that. Got quite involved in live streaming from a number of fronts. There was a big kind of public discussion about how live streaming should go. I ended up writing a number of articles and doing a lot of kind of research on that as well, with my other hat on as an academic. Since then, I've been doing lots of performing. One thing I've been doing for definite is I've been doing these regular concerts at Oliver's in Greenwich each week, where we've been dedicating each week to a different musician or a different set of music. So we've done music of Cedar Walton with Gareth Lecraine the other day, did Jackie McLean with Rachel Cohen. Every week is another chance to just learn a whole load of new music. It's similar to the lockdown thing. It's kind of trying to make the most of having fewer performing opportunities than usual. Let's use this as a chance to learn some new stuff.
Is there anything that you found that is an advantage of playing on a live stream? I think as a performer, it's such a different experience, and going from getting that immediate feedback from an audience. Have you found you're able to explore anything different by doing it live stream without that real audience?
Yes, but can I put that back to you first? So presumably you've done some live streams as well.
We've done some live streams, yeah. Which I found really exciting to get back with the players and have that opportunity to perform. But there was that really curious experience of finishing a piece where normally you would get thunderous applause, obviously, from the thousands of people in the audience
and the 3 people watching.
To finish that, and you do it in your usual kind of performance flamboyant way, but to not get that instant feedback was a really curious thing that was hard to get to grips with to start with.
I'm presuming from what you've just said that on the live streams you weren't paying close attention to the comments feed or...
No, I was busy reading dots.
Okay, exactly, yeah. Because I think actually when you're doing that, in some ways it's the opposite. You get a much better idea about what the audience is thinking. You get to see them conversing with each other, and so you come and look at the screen and they've loved a bit of it and they talk about it, and that's really nice. I mean, obviously you could have the opposite experience. I haven't yet, thankfully, where you read it and they say this guy's terrible. But that's really great. And then you finish off a piece, you look at it, and people are giving up like heart emojis and things, and you can see this from loads of different people, all kind of showing their love and respect during it. I think it's, in some ways, I had the opposite experience. It was really heartwarming in this time where I couldn't play anywhere to have that. I would agree with you in terms of the couple of live streams I've done where I haven't been able to see audience feedback. The Ronnie's one was an interesting case because we still had a lot of fun on that, but we couldn't see any feedback for that gig, so we could have been playing to no people for I knew. I think we just presumed lots of people were watching because that's the Ronnie's gig. But I did one concert there was this online lockdown across the world festival thing where they had lots of acts, lots of kind of DJs and performers and comedians and all sorts of people did it. And for that I had to use their platform. And retrospectively I know that a load of people did watch and it was great, but I didn't have the opportunity to see what they were saying. And so I, from my run in my house playing these piano pieces, had no idea whether anyone was watching at all, and that was really disconcerting actually. That was kind of a strange experience I'm not keen to have again.
Yeah, but do you think there are elements of the live streaming that you will keep in your regular touring schedule so that you add those into performances?
Quite possibly. Like a lot of, so I did a bunch of research for this, which was funded by the ESRC, and was in collaboration with Sirius and the Music Venues Trust and Musicians Union and the Incorporated Society of Musicians and Sheffield Performing Arts Research Centre. So we had a load of people involved in it, which was really great. Yeah, it was interesting looking at what the role of live streaming might be in the future. As we ran this survey, we had 1,500 people fill it out, so loads of people for a bit of research like this. And we looked into what the function of it might be in the future. And it looked like it wasn't so much like a money maker. It's not like a good way of performing concerts. It's not a replacement for something you do live, which in some ways is good because you wouldn't want it to be. You want to keep the live experience live, really, I think, if you're a musician. But it does look like it's something that audiences find welcome, that they're up for, they're keen on, and it's a good way of finding audiences that are distant to you, people who can't make it because they have some access issues, disabilities, or whatever, or they're very old, for example. They're people that could watch it, people who are distant in location. So let's say they live in some rural village and they want to see what's going on in the London jazz scene. That's another kind of person you can get involved in this. People in other countries, you can do that as a kind of precursor to a tour in another country. So you could perform a live stream, let's say, in collaboration with a venue in Italy, and they could promote it and market it, and you do it for free, but they watch it, and this is a way of kind of building up an audience before you go there, maybe lowering your carbon footprint in the process. Those kind of things look like the place that live streaming might hold in the future, and that would be a useful part of any musician's toolkit, I think.
Yeah, I think any way of getting our music and our experience out to a wider audience can only be a good thing in the long run, for sure. Now that you've seen the space and hopefully you're excited about being in the garden,
totally, it's beautiful.
How do you think the band will adapt to being in this sort of space as opposed to perhaps a more traditional jazz club or theatre space?
Well, I mean, I guess we adapt to any space that we're in. I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out. As I say, it's quite open. There's lots of room for us to take things in different directions. So yeah, I don't have any idea, but it could be interesting to find out. Yeah.
And in one sentence, perhaps you could give our audience an idea of what they could expect musically when they come to your gig.
It might not be a concise sentence, but I can see what I can do. There are kind of massive wide range of influences, I think, to this music. A lot of, I guess, kind of gospel influences, singer-songwriter influences, the South African music things in there. You can definitely hear some Abdullah Ibrahim vibes. The kind of Keith Jarrett, Paul Bley thing is going on in there. It's all very kind of open and loose and free-spirited and soulful, I guess. That's kind of, those are the cliched words, but that's kind of where we're coming from. You definitely be getting a concert you won't get again. It's always different every time we play it. Yeah, loose, free, and open.
Awesome. Well, I for one can't wait. So later in the season, we've got Jason Rebello and Tim Garland coming along. Obviously, they're probably the older generation to you. Have they had any influence on your progress and your development as a musician?
Of course, yeah. Tim Garland taught an ensemble I was in at Royal Academy of Music, which was really great experience. He also used to live with my old piano teacher, Gwilym Simcock. So when I had lessons with him every now and again, I remember Tim Garland sticking his face in once and offering us a spud, which I presume was a potato. And Jason Rebello is an amazing character, incredible. So definitely an influence of sorts. I'm sure that'd be a really great concert. Yeah.
Fantastic. My thanks to Sam Leake. You can see him and his trio live in the Secret Garden on Saturday, the 7th of August.
Hope to see you there.